Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the future. So let's get into it. So today I got the question basically, Frederick, if you were to, what would be the characteristics of a future language, a language that hasn't been invented yet, a future or a language built in 2020? What would that be? And this is a good question. I had to kind of think about this one for a little while. So I suppose that there are many things to consider here. What would be entailed in such a language? And I will, because this is such a big question, I will focus on the thing that I think would be the most relevant and the most important. And I would say that a future language would be the most important future language characteristic that we could have would be the multi-platform perspective. I would argue that the most important thing for a future language is this flexibility that is so very, 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 very costly as of today. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I mean that today we have an enormous amount of entropy and diversity in the languages that we have. And this isn't really all that productive. It's not really helping anybody to have all this entropy, because the fact of the matter is that quite a lot of duplication and just double work is being done in a range of different languages that basically do the same thing as the other languages are. In fact, we spend so much time in this kind of tribal mindset where we basically have languages who do almost exactly the same sort of thing. And all of the work that goes into just making sure that all of these languages feature match each other, the only real value that they provide us with is these small arbitrary choices in workflow. I mean, what does it matter if you use Ruby or Python? The differences are almost completely arbitrary, but they are there. And then there are people who adopt whichever stack. I mean, there's tons of these examples where you literally do almost exactly the same thing in both cases, and because of these small, tiny little differences, we need to basically support multiple ways of doing the same thing in different languages. And as I said, it's just not productive. The thing that a powerful, truly futuristic language would give us is to move us more towards a standardization, or I like to call it the universal programming language. I don't think that that's ever going to happen because it's just it might be completely impractical to have one. But at the very least, I think that what would be really important is to have a language that has this flexibility to work on in so many different use cases that it covers all of the platform needs that you have. We have languages that kind of do this sort of thing today. I mean, I'm not saying that you should, but take JavaScript as an example. Like, you could use JavaScript for almost every form of development. You could use C or C++ for almost every form of development, Rust, etc., etc. There are languages that kind of do this thing. Kotlin is another one. Like, there are different approaches, and you have C# as well to a certain point. It's not there just yet, but I think that a very similar thing as to what Java brought us back in the day, where platform independence, or like running on any platform, was kind of a thing. I think that that's one of the main contributors as to why Java became so big. I think that is a future characteristic, like a truly future language, because I mean, everything gets slowed down by the fact that we have all of this entropy and diversity. Because I mean, education, just figuring out, like, getting people to be able to do the thing that you want. I mean, as I said, how much time do you spend? Do the different communities spend on just trying to provide the same functionality that another language is providing, just to get a bump in popularity so that more people will adopt it? I mean, if all of these people could kind of synergize, could focus on true innovation instead of trying to basically just do their own thing in their own way, if we could all join forces and focus on maybe, let's say, one language or two languages or something like that, and truly focus on innovating within those languages, I mean, the ecosystem and the development velocity that we would achieve would be enormous. Because, as I said, I don't really see I mean, what is the real benefit? I mean, I know that we will never ever align truly on exactly how we want to do work, but I think that it would be a much more efficient approach to software development if we focused on trying to get rid of this weird tribal nature that people have, that I want to use this language, and I go, why? Well, because I like these features, and I kind of go, yeah, but you can solve all of these problems with this language, and it has a few benefits that are like hard requirements. I mean, honestly, guys, me personally, I don't give a shit what we work in, like what I work in when I go to work. I mean, I work in Scala almost every day. I work in Scala every single day, and it's by far not one of my favorite programming languages. But I don't care, because it allows me to solve the problems that I need to get solved. And that mindset is, I will argue, that's the mindset of a true professional, because you're hired to solve a problem. You're not hired to play around with your favorite tool. And to me, it's almost an immature, childlike behavior to have this idea that it's more important for you to use, I don't know, some feature of a language rather than just producing results. Because almost pretty much every language can do whatever the other languages are doing. You can solve almost pretty much every problem regardless of language, right? So it's much easier for us. It would be more efficient if we could just let go of that and just align and say, hey, we're going to use, these are the languages that we will standardize this world's IT needs on for now, because they will solve all of these problems for us, rather than supporting all of this entropy. It just slows everybody down for almost no other purpose than some emotional satisfaction that these arbitrary little tweaks or differences in workflow actually give you. So what I want you to take away from this is that, at least in my opinion, I think that the most, like a future language that isn't developed today, the most important characteristic would be to have this platform independence thing, where I can build for iOS, I can build for web, I can build for Android, I can build I can do embedded systems. A language where the support for every platform, every form of development that I want to do is a first-class choice in that language. Today we don't have that. There is no language right now that has a first-class experience that is rivaling all the other experiences that will work across any platform. I mean, that's the one thing you want. The language, and this is the thing that I think is so weird, the language is just a tool for you to achieve that goal. Who the heck cares what language you're using if it allows you to build exactly the thing that you want? I mean, that's the best thing for us. Knowing 50 languages is not pragmatic, but knowing one single language that could solve all of these problems would be like the most efficient way it would be the most efficient thing for us, right? I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I really do believe that this platform independence characteristic is the most important thing, because as more people want to get into programming, and as the entropy grows, it's getting harder and harder to find people that can produce these results, and you're basically increasing the education requirements in an almost disproportional speed as to how fast you can educate programmers. So simplifying and empowering people to do more with less is the way forward. Have a great day.